Sorry I did not get this video out sooner. I had some stuff to do this morning, but we just wanted to quickly touch on the news that Joel Embiid will be reevaluated in 4 weeks after having a procedure done on his meniscus flap, the displaced meniscus flap. I have no clue why the Sixers just refuse to say that it's a torn meniscus and that he got fucking surgery on it, but I guess they want to make the wording sound fine. He got surgery on a fucking torn meniscus, and him being reevaluated in 4 weeks probably means that he got a piece of it removed. If you read Kyle Neubeck's, the beat reporter for the 76ers, if you read his interview with a knee specialist on allphly.com, it sounds like a repair was the most likely option because repairing a displaced flap or whatever would be kind of pointless because the flap is kind of useless anyway, even if you do repair it. So getting it removed was probably the best option, but I guess my overall thoughts on this is, one, it sucks because Joel Embiid was having a historic season in every sense of the word, no matter how much people will try to discredit it with stupid narratives. He was having the best scoring season of all time, just based on points per minute, but not only that, improved as a passer and was playing some of the best defense of his career. Just metrics-wise, shots blocked per game, steals per game, all that stuff, anchoring a top 5 defense when he's on the court. And it was just a all-time great season. Finally, with a coach that is creative and knows what he's doing. And finally, with a point guard that is a co-star that will actually shoot a basketball. And it was just a really great season that unfortunately was cut short because of incompetence from the organization, letting him play on a knee that clearly wasn't right. Now, obviously, you don't predict that Jonathan Kuminga will fall on it, but it's still the thing of if you play stupid games, you could win stupid prizes. And the Sixers, unfortunately, won a stupid prize. Now, this team is hot dog water without Embiid. It is rough to watch. You see why I have concerns about Tyrese Maxey. Not concerns about Tyrese Maxey being the second best player on a championship team, but the point I always bring up is we are asking a lot out of a 23-year-old who is still growing, still learning the toughest position in the NBA with the steepest learning curve. We are asking him to immediately be the second best player on a championship team, and that can be rough sometimes. That comes with growing pains, and I think Tyrese Maxey is figuring out, the life of being the number one guy on a team, and teams are now trapping him constantly. Yesterday's game against the Mavericks, it was a stark difference between how the Mavericks handled the trap whenever the Sixers went and trapped Luka versus when the Mavericks trapped Maxey. It's just rough. It's a rough learning curve. And Adrian Wojnarowski said today that the Sixers are going into this trade deadline as buyers. This team desperately needs reinforcements. Personally speaking, I would have liked Joel Embiid to take the longer route recovering, but if you're a Sixers fan and you followed this team for a long time and closely during the Embiid era, you kind of knew ahead of time that Embiid was going to try to get to the shortest route possible to get back on the court. If you listen to the Rights to Ricky Sanchez podcast, Spike Eskin released a newsletter a few days ago, basically touching on the apt feelings that all Sixer fans feel, especially processed Sixer fans, about how they're willing to go down with the ship with Joel Embiid, and basically outlined what the recovery plan was going to be before it happened. Joel Embiid was going to get a longer than expected but not season-ending injury. He was going to choose the quickest route possible to get back on the court, and then he's probably going to be dealing with an injury in the playoffs again, and we'll see what happens. And I want Joel Embiid to have long-term health, but again, it's his choice. It's his body. So I guess I can't really fret too much about it because at the end of the day, the decision happened. Definitely looks like the Sixers are expecting Embiid back at some point, a few weeks probably before the playoffs, give him time to ramp up, condition, and all that stuff. If that's the route the Sixers are going to take, then you just gotta hope that they get some help at the trade deadline. Now look, the struggles are also due to the fact that they don't have 3 of their 4 starters or 3 of their 5 starters at any given point with all these injuries and illnesses lately. And again, this team fits so well around Joel Embiid. It's the most fitting team of the Joel Embiid era. So when that player that you fit your roster around so well is out, you're not as likely to tread water like in previous years where you could fall back on a Ben Simmons or a James Harden. And also, some of it, I haven't really been too impressed with Nick Nurse with shorthanded rosters. That's kind of, if I had one flaw with Nick Nurse that I wanted to pick at, that's one right there, despite how much I've been singing his praises on this channel. But now we know what the plan is, at least seemingly, because even though the Sixers are trying to be so vague about it, it's pretty obvious they're going to try to get some reinforcements at the trade deadline. If they don't, I'm going to be so pissed off at Daryl Morey especially. But they're obviously waiting for Embiid to come back. They're obviously hoping that he will be ramped up by the playoffs, probably a few weeks before the playoffs. And so the Sixers just got to tread water by then. They are 3 games up on the Pacers for the 6th seed, and I believe they're 5 games up out of the play-in. So they definitely have a cushion with about 30 or so games left. But with the way the Sixers have been playing lately and the way they've looked without Embiid, treading water during these last 30 games, that might be a tough ask, which is why it is imperative that they get something done at the trade deadline, something right, something, that'll get 1 or 2 more players in here. But this kind of stinks. I was really looking forward to seeing this team come playoff time. Now, we probably still will get that, but they are most likely going to be starting every series on the road, which, will be tough. At this point, it's just stay out of the play-in and I guess give yourselves a shot at, hoping Embiid is at least 90% of what he is by playoff time. But we'll see, I guess.